But like for me, especially like when I get a woman, like it's usually it's face to face because a lot of guys nowadays, and understandably so, there's that fear of rejection. There's that fear of rejection. Especially like if a woman like she's around like her friends and stuff like that. Like at least stateside, abroad they're gonna be very polite, but
They're more
stateside,
receptive here. They're
yeah,
sweet.
stateside,
Mexican girls are just sweet.
yes, yes, yeah. State.
I have one on the way. Bring me dinner right now. I'm like, all right, I don't have to
Oh,
cook
oh,
tonight.
oh, oh,
I
okay.
like that. That makes me
There
like
you
you.
go.
Yep.
There you go. No, but yeah, stateside, guys have that fear because girls with their friends, like I said, like the girl who I was talking to, and I called her and I said, hey, I thought we were gonna hang out, and her friends, were kiki and ha ha in the background. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
it's different
They
when
do that all the damn time here. I know that's why I laugh. I know exactly what you're talking about. Bunch of noise, like boom, 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 bass in the background. They're at a bar or something. And you're just like, God damn it, girl, why'd you call me?
right, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly, man, exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's just completely different in Latin America in that aspect. Like I've been to so many different places in Colombia. Barranquilla, Medellin, Cali, Colombia, um, Parera. Been to oh my god, I feel like I'm missing Cartagena. Been to
The capital, Bogota. The girls I meet from
Bogota. Yeah,
Bogota here are always really cool.
yeah. No, very, very cool, very cool. Very, very approachable. But I think but I think that like I would say like people around our age. And older are kind of like the last of the dying breed, if you will, because there are not a lot of guys who will have the confidence, whether it be any country in the world, that will be willing to actually walk up to a woman, whether she's by herself or with a group of friends, and actually engage in conversation. You know,
Yeah,
there are guys who will actually do that.
and abroad even more so because a lot of them go out in mixed company. It's very dangerous for a girl to go out by herself in Colombia. I think Mexico
Yeah,
not as much, but I know I don't know any guys here that have really ran into any issues safety wise. But pretty much every girl I know, she has been physically abused by an ex boyfriend at some point, or she has been physically assaulted in the street. Usually, to steal her purse, wallet, cell phone, all of the
yeah,
above. Pretty much every
yeah,
girl I know has that story, but none of the guys I know. So it is a lot of guys get on the feminist topic every now and then in the U.S., which I agree. It kind of goes to the extreme, but in
yeah,
Latin America, I get it sometimes. Like it is dangerous to be a woman in a
yeah,
lot of these countries, so they will go out in the mixed group, the mixed company. You mentioned earlier, you have to develop your social skills because if you think you're just going to go from group to group and game girl after girl, well, she's usually got guys there, and you don't know are they coworkers, are they cousins, are they brothers, is it her boyfriend? I've made
no,
that
no,
mistake
yeah,
before,
definitely, yeah,
where the girl flirts with me, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I always keep it cool in public. I'm going to the bathroom, and some guy, he's not happy. And he's like,
right,
hey, what the hell? You were talking to my girlfriend, you were doing this. I'm like, dude, I don't even know who you are. I've never seen you
yeah.
before.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. One way, one way to get past that, right? So, and I'll tell guys this, and by no means am I a dating coach, but I like to say, I'm giving experience, right? So,
Yeah.
you see a girl, you see a girl maybe. She's with like another girl, and maybe there's like three guys or whatever, and from afar, she's kind of checking you out or whatever, but you don't know what the situation is. It could be her boyfriend, you don't know, it could be her brother, her cousin, or whatever the case is. So usually this is something that I've done, right? So what I'll do is, I'll buy around the drinks for everybody, you know. They say, hey, we cheer up or whatever the case is. And so I'll engage in conversation with everybody, so this way I make everyone feel comfortable because I don't know who's who yet, right? So I'm
Yes.
engaging in conversation, right? And so in the midst of engaging in conversation, you know, now when this woman starts to engage in conversation with you more, and then and so then you can say, hey, what's the situation, like, is this one of your dates or whatever? Oh no, that's just, primo, whatever, whatever, my my cousin, hermano, whatever. Okay, cool. Okay, now okay, like, these are just her family, her friends. Then you can start to make a move. But that's how you de-escalate the situation, because you don't want to just go in there and you don't know what the situation is, because that could be the guy's wife or whatever. Now you got an altercation in your hand. So what you want to do is, in that environment, as I mentioned, you have the drinks, everybody's happy, cheers, salute, whatever, you know what I mean? And then that's how you break the ice.
Yeah, and you have to do that. You know what? Actually, no, I'll take that back. Last time I was in the U.S., people are pretty aggressive in the U.S. now, too. Pretty much
Yeah,
any major city I go to, a lot of the guys are standoffish. Seems like
yeah,
there's a chip on their shoulder. They're not really happy to see you. When you're abroad, same thing. You, like you said, you don't know who's who in their group, but they also don't know who you are.
right,
The guys will do this a lot in Mexico. They'll come up to you. They'll feel intimidated. I don't know if they have a small man complex or some sort of cultural inferiority. Actually, I went to college down here at one of the best universities in Mexico. Our
yeah,
Spanish teachers from Spain told us that usually in a lot of these Latin countries, they do
yeah,
have a cultural inferiority complex to countries of the North, especially in the U.S., because historically, whenever there's been any U.S.-Mexico conflict, Mexico always loses. Of course, that's 500 years of a Spanish caste system and ripe with corruption that also leads to that thing. It's not necessarily the gringos' fault, but it's in their cultural psyche here that all of our problems blame them on the Americans, which that's a good way to never get ahead as a society. But
right.
someone mentioned earlier. Now I will digress. Where's that comment, guys? We'll eventually get to the comments here. So now I digress. But they also don't know who you are. So I'll get guys come up to me. Hey man, they puff their chest out. You'll notice when you're abroad, usually you're bigger than other people too. I think we're
Right,
just
yeah.
corn-fed boys in the north. I have a whole theory about that. But we're just bigger. We're just
Yeah,
built
yeah,
a little more robustly. And they'll puff their chest out. You don't know who I am. I'm so and so and so. Dude, we're at a pretty nice restaurant. I was invited here. They're doing promos with me in the videos. I know the manager, the owner, the doorman. I
right,
have a table comped VIP. The after parties at my house with the headlining DJs. So you don't know who I am. Like, clearly I'm
right,
not from this country, but
yeah,
I have a much bigger presence than you do. So who the fuck are you? And it's
yeah,
really funny. You kind of throw it back on them.
yeah,
But for them, a lot of times they don't know who you are. And you do have a lot of bad actors with this whole passport bros movement. Again, when I was down here the first time around, there weren't a lot of guys like me down here, which
no,
really was nice because I had the novelty factor. And
yeah,
as long as you treat people well, then they'll have that idea of like, okay, yeah, maybe I hate America because they stole half our property in the Spanish-American War, but I just met this gringo and had drinks with him. He's really cool. Like, maybe I should change how I think about Americans. And now you get a lot of guys that come down and they really, when I go to places like Cancun, it drives me nuts. I'll tell my buddies, don't piss in public, don't throw beer bottles, don't get in fights with locals. Sure enough, someone in the group will do that, and then I get a call, hey, I'm getting shaken down by the cops, they want $500. Give it to
yep,
them. Oh, what
yep,
the hell, man! It's a buddy of mine who's a lawyer. Well, I'm gonna read them their Miranda rights. Like, bro, you're in Mexico. The legal system doesn't work that way. Just pay the guy, and you're out of there. So you
right,
get guys that come down, they act like idiots, and then they ruin it for the rest of us. So I'm
yeah,
starting to see more offishness, if that's a real word. If not, I'll make it a word. I'm starting to see more of a standoffish attitude from people towards Americans here. And there is a growing anti-American sentiment because, again, you do have guys that are not well seasoned
hmm,
traveling abroad and interacting with people that aren't like them to where they kind of ruin it for the bunch for the rest of us.
right, yeah. And just to kind of piggyback off of what you just mentioned, right? So in Medellin, um,
Yeah, you
like,
can't get away with that, Medellin. You can't be an asshole there.
well, there's a section in Medellin, and they have different sections. So where my apartment is, it's in Poblado. So
That's where
it's
I stay.
yeah,
So Poblado is to Medellin what Polanco is to Mexico City. It's
right,
like the
exactly,
highest cost neighborhood. Yeah.
right. So there's a section in Poblado, and it's called Parque Yeres, and
Yep.
so
The infamous Parque.
so so in this section, you have all type of foreigners, Like I've seen guys from the UK, Australia, I've seen guys from the States, all different shapes and sizes, black, white, indifferent.
Yeah,
And
Colombia's got everything too.
well, no, well, yeah. So, but I'm talking about these
In
guys
terms
who,
of foreigners, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
I get you.
they congregate in Parque Yetis, they get really, they get really obnoxious, being very disrespectful, and really not understanding, what's really going on. And I tell guys this, privately. I've said this on my channel. Like, once you leave the United States, no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Leave the United States in the United States.
Yes.
When you get to these countries, whether you're in Mexico or Colombia, leave the US BS there, because you're in someone else's different country, and then you mess it up for other people. So now they're looking at people who treat people with respect, like Jared and I, and they're like, and they kind of have a frown on their face, because they're like, oh, these gringos are messing it up. And so they think that we're part of the people who are messing it up. But it's like, no, we actually have respect for your country. We have morals, and we're going to treat your people properly. But it's like, maybe someone who may have looked like me, probably went somewhere and then, acted a fool. Maybe
That's
someone
what
who looked
happens.
like Jared went somewhere and acted a fool. Now they see Jared and I, and then they think that we're fools. And it's like, no, 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 no. And which is so messed up, because, and that's the thing, because a lot of guys who, like foreigners, they don't think about what's going to happen after you leave.